There we go. There we go. There we go. Hold on. Having these issues again. Hold on. Yep. Lost my background. There we go. I don't know what's wrong with this thing, but we are here. We are definitely here. What's going on, folks? Happy Thursday to you. Thank you for joining me. It is Pro Fan Talk. It is Thursday night. I am Marcus Thomas. You are you, and we are here. Thank you for joining me. Happy opening day. A lot of stuff going on. It's opening day. Jeffery Lurie got all of our offensive, got the offensive hype train going. Wearing my Kelly Green. Now I know we're going to get Kelly Green next year with the unis. So that should be a definite good thing. But thank you for joining me. You cannot see, but I got the Phillies playing up on the wall up here. So I'm doing a little rubbernecking. It was 5-0. And then 5 minutes later, it was like 10-5. And then so they've at least made it presentable. It's we're in the bottom of the eighth. And Texas is winning 11-7. So we still got little ways to make up. But we started out good. Now we're here. But in any case, what's going on, people? A lot of good stuff still going on in the news. A lot of moves. Eagles still making moves. Jeffery Lurie took front and center this week, which was kind of interesting. He had they had the NFL owners meeting out in Arizona, and of course he was there. So he had some very good quotes, very good interviews. Vince, I'm with you, dude. I like the midnight green too. Although Kelly Green, I'm partial to because that's what I wore when I played. But still, don't get it twisted. That midnight green is tight. So I'm surprised they haven't tried to do the midnight green with the Kelly Green trim or like something to that effect. But in any case, we'll get over it. But we'll get there. I see you, Pops. See you, Sean was number 2 and Vince number 3. Everybody's probably still watching the game, but at this point, it's been a it's been a love-hate relationship with the Phillies in Game 1. But it was still fun to watch, get on board, especially after last season. Looks like we're going to start out hot, so no need to get too out of sorts. It's a day. We'll keep it moving. But the comments by our owner were very interesting. Who's up? Well, somebody likes. Let me see. You prefer the midnight green because I grew up with it, but I do like the Kelly green. Okay, so you are opposite of how I'm thinking because I played when we were Kelly green, but I like the midnight green change. So it's all good. At the end of the day, you know, that all that is just another shirt you're gonna buy, another jersey color you're gonna buy. So let's keep it real. That's a money making move. I ain't mad at him making his money. But we got it coming in. Little shout out to RC, my quarterback when I played. I had a pretty good story. It was his birthday the other day. So I posted a story. First day in camp up at Westchester. And I'm nervous as hell. So I get to practice like extra early. Could hardly eat anything, couldn't keep anything down. I felt like crap at practice because I hadn't eaten. It took me like 40 minutes just to have what I have, like half a plate of scrambled eggs or something like that, but I barely even ate those. But it was funny. But I'm first on the field warming up. There's a couple other guys out there. Here comes Randall out there. And of course, everything mental goes through my head. This is the guy I've been playing on Madden, watching them on TV, Monday Night Football, all of that kind of stuff. All those things you go through as a kid or as a young person, and then you see somebody you've been seeing on TV, you see him in person. And Randall was that dude. And of course, he was like, "Let's warm up, Rook." So I'm like, about crap myself. So he wants to warm up. So he gets about 20 yards away, gets the ball, throws a lob pass to me. And you know how it is when it's in the morning and you got the dew on the grass. So my hands were wet. So I lift my hands up to catch the ball, and the ball goes directly through my hands. Ball goes right through my hands and busts me dead in the nose, like right on the bridge of my nose, like right there. And just immediately my eyes start watering. And I thought that he had broke my nose or something, because it's like, you know, you get that, you ever get punched in the nose, you get right there. And he was cracking up. So I was like, yeah, that's a core memory from now on. So my first pass from Randall Cunningham almost broke my nose. So there's that. But it was cool, man. But it was cool. Hey, sis, I see you in there. Pete, I see you in the building. All my folks first out the limo. I appreciate you. We got my dad. We got Sean. We got Vince. We got a Facebook user. I don't know who you are. We got Pete and my sis. So that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out the limo. And I appreciate you and everybody out the limo first off the bat. Is brought to you by Fan Up. Fan Up is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NFL contests, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up today. Use promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points, a $50 value. fanup.app. So, but yeah, that was kind of a crazy story. So, a lot of fun. That's not funny, Vince. Laugh all you want, man. My nose hurt. Kyle Schwarber's up. Nobody's on base, top of the ninth. And he just popped out. So, but in any case, let's keep it moving. Very interesting thing I wanted to get to, and that was Jeffery Lurie gave a quote down at the owners' meeting. And his quote was he was talking about Nick Sirianni going through the process of how he hires coaches. And he said the nepotistic type of approach, or familial type of approach, we see it a lot, and you've got to try to avoid that. And I thought that was very interesting. He made a point to say that when we hired Brian Johnson, he didn't know who Brian Johnson was, didn't know the guy. So I thought that was interesting, because you see a lot of stuff going on now really dealing with nepotism. You know what I'm saying? So people getting jobs because they work with this coach or they know that coach. You look at the guy in Las Vegas, for all intent and purposes, he should have been fired a long time ago. So, and I don't understand why he isn't. That's the funny part. I don't understand why he hasn't been fired. Josh McDaniel. And I don't know. If it was anybody else, they would have been out of there by now. Anybody else, they'd have been terminated. He gets chance after chance. The whole situation with Denver, where he took the job, then he reneged. It's just weird. It's just like guys like that get every opportunity in the world, and you get people that get looked over and skipped over every year. So it's always interesting how guys like that. Is it because he's such good friends with Belichick? Does Belichick have that much pull in the league? I don't know. I have no idea. But it seems like he's getting every opportunity in the world when other people are getting passed up. I don't know what's up with that. Not really fair, but when it's fair, ever been really a part of the NFL? They say that, but they don't mean it. They mean it when they got to make money, but they talk about protecting the players, and then they want to flex a Thursday game. Don't nobody want to play on Thursday. Nobody in the league wants to play on Thursday. It makes a short week worse, and it makes a long week worse. So there's no benefit. The only reason they made those Thursday games was to make money, and it's not making money. Most of the games are not good. Amazon got, I won't say they got hosed, but they just had bad luck, because every Thursday game was not good last year, or most of them anyways. most of those Thursday games were not fun to watch. They had a couple of good ones, but yeah. But at this point, they're not going to get rid of it because they make too much money off of it. So when you get people like Amazon willing to pay that much cash for a Thursday game, they go get a Thursday game. The NFL is not going to run away from making money. You can't get mad at them, but Amazon should just stick to one-day shipping. Yeah, man. So, hey, man, it is what it is. That's just the way of the world. The next time the NFL can make even, a couple extra more dollars on top of their hoard, we'll see. Rob, you out on the Kelly Green, bro? Come on, man. Everybody love the Kelly Green, man. It's so nostalgic. Can't be out on the Kelly Green, man. It's sentimental. But I understand. Profit over safety. Yeah. You know what? It's like everybody thinking it. Everybody's thinking it. But you're right. They can't say that. But, why say it when you can show it? You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is, man. It's gonna have to get to a point where, like on a Thursday game, just like the masses just don't watch for whatever reason. If it's a stinker of a game, something will happen, or there'll be some form of outward showing to let the NFL know, like, this is not good. So I don't know what they can do. Now watch, all of the Thursday games will be great games this year or something like that. So it'll be, they'll get lucky this year. They only get criticisms because they won't say profit over safety. Yeah, I mean, they can't say that. They got to protect their endeavor. They got to protect their business. So they're going, the shield comes first, man. The shield always comes first. The Kelly Green was a little too bland. Got to season Kelly Green a little bit, but it's still rock with it. You know what? The Kelly Green, it was bland, but you got to remember, this was like from the 70s all the way until, the 90s. So they had to do something with it, because I like the Kelly Green, but like I said, you could take the midnight green. If you put Kelly Green on that midnight green, it would still look good. If you had the midnight green with the Kelly Green trim, it would look good. But not for nothing, I don't think it's necessarily the color that makes the unis. I think it's the wings. When they changed the wings on the helmet, I think the midnight wings look a little bit better. So, but now the 70s, like when Jaworski was playing and all of that, those wings looked horrible. Those wings look very bad. 4 spots to fill within the next 2 years. If Quez, I don't want to see Quez back, to be honest with you. Quez had his shot. I think he needs a change of scenery. I think he's a good back. I think he's got great speed, but he did not come up with the big catches. He did not come up with the catches in big time moments. And y'all know how I feel. Big time players come up with big time plays in big time games. If you don't have those people, you got to find those people and you got to make room for them. So just like me talking about Belichick, Bill Parcells, you look at those type of coaches, Jimmy Johnson, when he was with Dallas, those are the type of coaches that will let you know they are about business. If you cannot help their team, they will cut you, period. And you got a lot of coaches out there that will give people second and third chances, this, that, and the other. You can look at Belichick's history, some of the people he has let go and how it went down. He don't play around. It's nothing personal. This is about business, and if I don't feel you can help the squad I got right now, I got to let you go. Good luck to you. That's what they tell you. Somebody will pick you up. Good luck to you. They shake your hand and you out the office, and they move on to the next one. It is very cutthroat. It is very matter of fact. But it is not a lot of coaches that can do that all the time. Belichick could do that all the time. Parcells could do that all the time. Jimmy Johnson could do that all the time. Right on the field. If you're not get this guy out of here, and he would be gone the next day. You wouldn't see him back. I don't know how many of y'all saw when I had Myron Guyton on my show. Myron, one of my teammates from Eastern Kentucky, was one of the first two. I think there was only two, maybe three rookies that ever started for Parcells. Myron was one of them. Myron was one of them. And I asked him that. And it's like Parcells don't play, man. But he had that, when you generate that type of environment, everybody's on their P's and Q's, whether you a rookie or whether you a 6 or 7 year vet. Because when you keep somebody on the razor's edge like that, at the end of the day, don't nobody want to lose their job. Nobody wants to lose their job. So that is how you keep your squad together. How you keep them on their P's and Q's, where you let them know, like, listen, at any given time, you might be turning in your playbook or handing in your iPad or whatever it is they do now. So, but going back to Lurie's initial quote, I thought that was very telling. And I would say kudos to Sirianni. What's up, Anthony? If he went through, because he goes on to say how much homework and how much work Sirianni puts in to doing his research, and all, his word of the day was due diligence. He must have said it about 8 times. When he puts, that type of work in just to hire somebody, and you have 10 and 12 interviews and all of that kind of stuff. So clearly he puts into work. He puts in the work to find the person that he's looking for. The fact that it's not always somebody he knows or somebody to get the upper hand, because if you know somebody that knows somebody, that means, at least from the outside looking in and just based strictly on his comments. Don, what's good, man? Sirianni is doing his homework and looking at these prospects strictly on their merit. Let me see what your track record is, and then I'll make my decision based on what I see that you have done. And that's what you need. That's exactly what you need. Rashid Rouse and Larry Rams, if he's available, we'll see. Martian, we will see. Man, there's so many ways this thing can go. I got a thing hooked up. Let me see if I can show it right now. We're not going to get to it right now, but there we go. That is my mock draft. I'm doing a mock draft right now. I'm on like PFF mock draft simulator. Like, this thing is crazy, man. It's so goofy, because like, I did one draft and they had Carolina choosing Will Levis over CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. And it's like, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And sometimes those first couple picks, and I mean, it's all at random, but still, it's fun to do it. So you never know what it's going to look like. Let me see if I can move this over. I don't want it to fall down. There we go. So I can get close up and you can see the names. And of course, like, the computer's going to pick the top 9 picks, and then it'll be up to me to pick number 10 for the Eagles. But at least you can see what everybody else has done up to that point. So, Gold D, they are not going to get Bijan, man. I don't see it happening. Now, they might get an offensive lineman. We were talking about that when I was on Sports Take yesterday. If we select the offensive lineman, that'll be status quo. That'll be what we normally do. So that won't be no big deal, because we do have holes to fill. But I don't see Bijan. I would love to have Bijan Robinson. I would love to have him because I think he's that much of a difference maker. Plus, most of the film that I've watched on Bijan Robinson, he's running the ball out of gun formation, which is what we're going to do. So, there's a lot of people that don't necessarily like him because they don't think he played against enough quality competition, so to speak. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So, that'll be fun to do. We're gonna do that a little bit later on. But yeah, man. Howie Roseman is not done. Darnell Wright tackle from Tennessee. Dornall. Okay, I got you. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of good guys, man. When it comes to the offensive lineman, I already know that Howie Roseman, he's not making that decision. He's talking to Stoutland, and Stoutland is basically telling him, this is the guy I need. And if he's available, Howie will get him. I think Howie takes most of the risk at all of the other positions. But I would gather, and this is just my opinion, I would gather that Stoutland has enough respect around the league and in that building that Howie would go to him first. Like, tell me what we're looking for. And these are the guys that I'm looking at. Now, out of all of these guys, who would you want? And then they rank them. And then once they're ranked, it all depends on who's available at that. If you get to that pick and you want to pick an offensive lineman and your number one ranked offensive lineman is on the board, you get him. If not, you go to number 2, 3, and 4, and so on and so forth. So I would imagine that Stoutland's got a lot of say in that if we go O-line. We got 2 holes to fill at O-line. Really 1.5 because we got one position to fill and then somebody got to move. So Cam Jurgens is going left or right. I don't know. We don't know which side they're going to put him on, but he's going to start next year. And he's going to start at guard until, knock on wood, unless something happens to Kelsey. But I don't see that happening. I don't expect that to happen. He's been solid. But you got to get Jurgens in the game. Jurgens was ready last year as a rook, and that's surprising. So I wouldn't mind seeing Jurgens up there. But if they do get somebody else, I can see him getting another lineman to plug that hole. I don't know. Jalen Carter's a weird one. Jalen Carter is the one that can mess up the draft. Jalen Carter is the one that can totally shake up this draft. Because I haven't heard much from him. Now, granted, everything the last week has been about all these pro days. We'll get into the pro days too. So it's all been QB. But if Carter falls at number 10, I'm like, at number 10, if we can get Christian Gonzalez or Witherspoon, we take one of those two and we're certified in the secondary. We're good. But if Jalen Carter falls to us, you got to take him. You got to take him. Point, period, in the paragraph. Take Jalen Carter. I don't think that's going to happen. It's been a lot of smoke and mirrors. The stuff about everybody don't forget about the workout. And I said last week, like, you can pile on because they had a bad workout and couldn't finish, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, listen, that young man was stressed out. All the stuff he had to go to the police department, come back to Indy, and that young fellow was stressed out. So I'm not worried about that. If he's available, the only thing that'll stop Jalen Carter that will make his fall is all of the behind-the-scenes investigation. If something bad comes out about his situation, then he can really, really drop. Brian Daly, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Appreciate you being in, man. Yeah, but if Jalen, whatever they find out in their investigation, man, that's what everybody's worried about. That is what everybody's worried about. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. But if he slips, whew, if that hadn't happened when it happened, he would probably be the number 1 pick, or at least he'd be top 5 pick. So Martian, behave, bro. Behave. So it can there's a lot of things that can still happen. So there's a lot of different ways that they can go. You just never know, man. You just never know. I want to see this. Let's see. Let me see. Can y'all see that good? I forget how to do that. Let me see. Remove. Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember how to do it. In any case, let's do this. Let's do it that way. All right, y'all can see that. Brian, you on the fence about the midnight green? I like the midnight green too, but come on, man. This Kelly Green, man. All right, let's see what we're gonna get. Let's do this draft. See what they got. And we are on the clock. Okay, so my dude, we got a cornerback, the wide receiver from O State, and let me see. Who else we got? We got the tackle, Skarinsky. I can see them getting Skarinsky. So that is interesting. Kalijah Cansey. Van Ness is available. So Joey Porter Jr. So everybody I would want is available. Let's see who. So Carolina selects Bryce Young. Texas. See, I don't see Will Levis going above CJ Stroud. I don't understand that. But if that was to happen, okay, I can see CJ Stroud going to the Colts and Steichen really using him. Will Anderson Jr., edge rusher to the Cardinals, CJ Stroud, Jalen Carter going to Seattle. Witherspoon going to Detroit. Woof. Detroit gonna be stacked this year, man. Anthony Richardson going to Vegas. Quentin Johnson, Tyree Wilson, and then it's on us. And then I would pick my guy, Christian Gonzalez, and that takes us all the way down to 30, and that puts us at. We don't need another tight end. Tanner McKee, yeah, definitely don't. Another edge rusher, Azuma out of Kansas State. D-line, Michigan, another edge rusher. So, I mean, we still got another linebacker in there, Cyrus Torrance. There's a kid from Northwestern, I think. That's the edge rusher from Northwestern. He might be a steal. So, you know what? I'm going to go. Was Van Ness? Van Ness was gone. So, I'm going to get that edge guy. I'm gonna take Uzuma from Kansas State. So we'll see what happens. But you would take Torrance? I mean, there really no wrong answers, man. Everybody, yeah, Don, I'm with you, bro. That's what I think is going to happen. If the guy that we want isn't at number 10, we are going to trade the pick, stay in the first round, and get another pick. That's what I predict how he's going to do. That's what I think he's going to do. So if we reset the draft, right, go back to Philly, enter the draft, and let's see what happens the second time around. Start the draft. Let's see what happens second time around. Pretty much the same thing. But okay, this time Carolina gets CJ Stroud. Texans get Bryce Young. And Derek Witherspoon, number 3. Levis goes to the Colts. Anderson Jr.'s go to Seattle. Quentin, Anthony, Gonzalez. Oh, Jalen Carter falls at number 9 with the Bears. So that would put Tyree Wilson. I would go. I could do that. Tyree Wilson from Tech. Okay, I could do that as the best edge on the board. Still, I could live with that. Although him or Van Ness, I probably would have gone with Van Ness. Now, if it falls this way, you definitely know that's going to happen. You definitely know we're getting that offensive tackle. So I could definitely see that happening. So, yeah. Broderick Jones at number 30, I can see how we doing that. Just because, we like offensive line. So, let me reset this again. I'm going to come back and do this a couple more times before we get up out of here. This is fun. So, pick that back there. All right, we'll do that. We'll come back to that later. That was fun. What else is up? Oh, back to our free agent signings. Kentavious Street. Another boost to our defensive line. Our defensive line is going to be fighting for snaps. Now, here's the thing I was talking about this morning. If you guys didn't know, every Thursday morning at 7:30 a.m., I am on Morning Coffee on rvntelevision.com. It's a live show. So rvntelevision.com/live Thursday morning at 7:30, Morning Coffee. I will be there. And I just do my little half-hour segment on the sports, dropping some jewels on them. But we were talking about that this morning, how he wants to bring that defensive line back. Think about like this. Why would we want to change our defensive philosophy if we were so successful at it last year? Now, we definitely need some tweaks. But why would they change it? There's not really much to change. We had good success. We had a good rotation. We figured out the formula for our defensive line. As much as you might dislike Gannon for how it ended, understandable. But for the most part, Gannon solved the formula because our defensive line was ridiculous. They got production all year round. Brandon Graham, as old as he is, coming off an Achilles tear, gets double-digit sacks. We know what Hassan Reddick did. We know what Javon Hargrave did. And then you got Josh Sweat to throw in there. Now you got Milt Williams finally going to get his time to shine. We are all right on defensive line. But let's give Gannon his props, right? Let's give Gannon his props. He figured out the formula for our offensive line to function. You can call it the track meet or the track team or what was it, NASCAR package, all of that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, all he did was he looked at those big guys and you figure out how many plays can I get out of him at 100%. Or with the analytics, you start at 100%. The minute somebody drops below 85%, you replace them. You get them out. Give them a blow, let them take a series off, then they're right back in the game, back at 100%. If you guys have played football or baseball or any sport, basketball, anything where you got to run, and you go into camp, they always make you do suicides or they make you do sprints after practice. When I was at Eastern Kentucky, our fitness tests, we would have practice, and after practice, you had to run 1000s, 880s, 660s, and 440s. And based on your position, you had to run all of those in a specific amount of time. Me being a running back, you had to run 1000s in under like 16 seconds. So if you were running back, you had it 16. Now, mind you, 16 isn't that fast for 100, right? It is very fast after practice because you were already dog tired. And then what they would do is you would be good. Those first 5, you got it in you. You hit number 6, that's when the monkey's on your back. But when the reason why they do that is they try to figure how quickly can you recover. How quickly can you recover? And it was very easy to tell who was in shape and who wasn't. Very easy to tell. Going back to your boy Jalen Carter, that's why, you can look down on him for that workout that he had, but that boy is still in shape. That boy was just stressed. You mean when he reported for the combine, he was in shape, and then a week later he's not in shape? It don't happen like that. So, but they find some things out, and we figured out that formula. Gannon figured out that formula. Everybody on that line, he knew exactly how many plays that they could go full tilt. Be it pass rush, that's the other thing. You're down a distance, your packages, third and long, third and mid, third and short, things like that. Everybody's not going to be at the same package. They're not going to be in at the same package. So, but they look at that's when you got stuff like the analytics. That's when all of that kind of stuff comes into play. That's when analytics matter. People can go overboard on analytics, but that stuff doesn't make itself up. They study people and what they do on the field. So they can go too far on it because at some point you got to see things with your eyes, but they're not wrong. They're not wrong. So, Broderick Jones, we'll see. We will definitely see. But D tackle, O line, you never know what's going to happen, man. You never know what's going to happen. So we got a lot of stuff to cover. We got some holes to fill. I don't feel as bad now, especially after everybody leaving. All the coaches that we lost, all the players that we lost. Yes, Hargrave was a hard, but we knew what the deal was with that. We knew what the deal was with Hargrave. So we knew what we were dealing with. He was balling too much. He was balling too much. And the funny thing is, when I saw the news today about Kentavious Street, this is the first thing I thought of. That's the first thing I thought of when I heard we signed this dude. Jack Marius stacks Territrix. Oh my God, that tickles me every time I watch that. Every time I watch that, I was cracking up. But we got a pretty good player. Not quite in the vein of Linval Joseph, but in the ballpark. He was hurt early, and his first 3 years were rocky because he was trying to get himself healthy. And then he had a pretty decent year last year. He was with the 49ers, then he was with the Saints, and he really kind of came into his own last year. Had a decent year last year. I won't even say a good year. He was a decent defensive tackle, and he was a second-round draft pick, I believe. So I'm thinking Howie is looking at him the same way he's looking at Greedy Williams. Another high pick that thus far the career just didn't it hasn't panned out like his shine was when he came out of college. So Kentavious Street is another guy, had a decent year. Now he's trying to take another step forward. And hopefully with the guys around him, he can do that. So I want to see where they're going to play him. Is he going to switch time with Jordan Davis? All that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff we need to see, man. But we're not, because we got to wait till next year. Both of our coaches. I think Brian Johnson is going to do a lot of stuff that Steichen was doing. Because in both situations, on offense and on defense, why would you want to change that drastically? On offense, build around Jalen Hurts' strengths, just not have him run so much. You can still run, but now we got Rashad Penny. Kenneth Gainwell is going to be the hybrid now. So now you can get him involved in the pass patterns. Hopefully, I'm praying that Brian Johnson will bring back the Eagles screen game, because we haven't seen that in a couple years. We haven't seen that since Doug left. So there are some definite fixes that he can make on the offense. So, and in my opinion, it seemed like sometimes Steichen would get paralysis by analysis. He would get so caught up in trying to figure out what to do next that they would like run out of time, and like it was almost like that damn wide receiver trip screen left and right was like the emergency play. I can't get a play in time. Jalen, go to this. And they would line up in trips and call that stupid screen. I hated that play. It would always take one of those guys, Devontae Smith or AJ or somebody, just having to make a play to get normal yards. And I hated that. I want to play design to take advantage of our down and distance and matchups, not whether or not we throw a dumb screen and we got to make people miss like they playing Madden. I don't want to be in that situation. So Public Enemy, I'm with you 100%. We haven't had a screen game. We have not had a screen game since Andy left. Doug Peterson ran screens, but not like Andy did. And we got the horses to do that. We definitely got the horses to do that. I don't understand why we don't do it. So hopefully that's one of the changes that Brian Johnson makes. Hopefully. But we still got this X factor. And here's the other thing, man. And this goes back to the gripe about what they do to camp and all of that kind of stuff, man. It's like you don't know what you are going to get. That's one of the things we were talking about this morning on Morning Coffee. When I went to camp as a rookie running back, you had to earn your stripes, man. You had to earn it. Now, mind you, I was a rookie in 93. Okay. So we had the Fridge. We had, what was the guy from Colorado we drafted in the second round? Leonard Renfro. We had Keith Millard, Byron Evans, Seth Joyner, Willie T, Eric Allen, Wes Hopkins, Eric McMillan, Mark McMillan, Andre Waters, Andy Harmon was still on the team. I'm trying to think who else was on that defense. I know I'm forgetting some people. Mike Flores. Like we were still the last little piece of that gangrene defense was still there. Seth was the captain, but that was the last bit of that gangrene defense after Reggie had left and Jerome had passed. And they were still bringing the funk. If you remember, that year we were pretty good. We were 7-1, and then Randall tore his knee in New York against the Jets. And that was the crazy. That was the game where Eric Allen had that crazy pick six. And when he scored, right when he scored a touchdown, Randall was coming out of the tunnel with crutches. And he ran up to him and gave him the ball and gave him a hug. Oh, my God. I've never yelled so loud in my life. That was crazy. But we were good that year, but that defense was, and we just got decimated with injuries that year. But we got to get back to an offense that Jalen Hurts can thrive in. And next year, I want to see him throw the ball a lot more than we ran the ball. And I shouldn't say that. That's not right, because we did throw a lot more than we ran. But I want him to throw more. I want him to throw more and run a lot less. Run a lot less. So we can do that. I will always use that Chicago game as an example of what not to do. I always thought, like, yo, Sirianni, you need to be ashamed of yourself for that one because it should not have gone down like that. I think Rashad Penny's going to be good because we're not going to use any of our running backs like number one running backs. I don't see that happening again unless Brian Johnson is going in a direction that nobody can see right now. That's possible, not probable. Well, he was the biggest thing about Brian Johnson is he knows what to expect from Jalen. He knows more so than even Sirianni. I think that's a big reason why Sirianni brought him on board. Because he knows how to coach Jalen. He was around the family and all like that, so he knows how to push the right buttons. Because if you remember, Jalen Hurts made the comment to Sirianni like, yo, you can coach me a little bit harder than that. I'm a coach's kid. I can take it. I know what. Jalen had to tell him that, which means he didn't know how to really handle that type of personality, where Brian Johnson does because he's familiar with Jalen. And I would tell anybody, hey, man, go back and look at Brian Johnson. He was legit. He was legit. And you know he wasn't getting no love as a quarterback out of Utah back in the day. But he was legit. So we got some things coming down the pike, man. And I'm still excited. Pro days. If you guys have not seen any of my content on YouTube, please check it out. youtube.com/@ProFanTalk. I talk about pro days. What is the purpose of the pro day? If you are a quarterback, it seems like the optics of it are that it ends up becoming guys trying to see what you look like on camera, see how you interact with media and stuff like that. Because now, after every pro day workout, they're sitting in between Steve Smith and somebody else from NFL Network, and they, put a microphone, put them in the middle, and they're talking and trying to see where their head's at and how they present themselves. But that ain't got nothing to do with whether you can or cannot throw a ball down the field. And the pro day doesn't even showcase that. Defensive line, offensive line, and if you had a sucky 40 time. I said that in my video, my 40 time, my combine experience was very meh. I had a decent workout, but I had a sucky 40 time. If I had a better 40 time, I probably would have got drafted. But I had a sucky 40 time. Nerves. I didn't have good shoes. Everybody had them super light turf shoes. I ain't have it like that at Eastern Kentucky. So I had my regular, I think I had like regular gym shoes. I didn't have nothing like with knobbies on the bottom of it. And like the stuff they have now is just ridiculous. So, but that was a different time. I trained to be fast. I didn't train to be fast on an artificial surface like they do now. Now they train to be on that surface and to get the most out of what they can do on that. Like they know what they're walking into. I wasn't as lucky. So my 40 time was garbage. I ran like a 4.76 and a 4.78 or something like that. It was bad. For a running back, it was not good. So for me, my little pro day, when a guy by the name of Dan Shankar, he was a scout for the Miami Dolphins. Him and I think one or two other people came to Eastern Kentucky I think they were up at University of Kentucky earlier, came down to see me, and then I ran a 4.48 at 2:05. That was more like it. If I'd have ran that at the combine, it would have may have been a different story from. But if you're not in that situation, especially with all of the attention given to quarterbacks, everything you need to see is on game tape, not at pro day. Not at pro day. Like what can they show you at pro day that you haven't seen on tape? If you're seeing something new at a pro day for the first time, in my opinion, you are probably not a good scout. I hear all of the terms that they're throwing out there now. You know, the ball jumps out of his hand. I heard McShay say that today with Anthony Richardson's workout, and I was like, you couldn't tell that watching him play at Florida. The one big knock I had with Richardson was that joker throws a bullet. That ball comes out with velocity, but he has no arch on the ball. His arcs are like his velocity and his speed keep his arcs at a minimum, so he doesn't get a lot of air on the ball because he's got a super strong arm. But in the league, if he continues to throw the balls like he throws them, he's going to give up a lot of picks because he can get them to the receiver, but the way the arcs he throws on the ball, DBs are going to eat that up. Pick it right out of the sky. So it'll be interesting to see how they develop him and how they get his touch together. So they're running really fast like a track star. Yes, they are. I mean, last year you can look at Jordan Davis. What Jordan Davis did, run a 4.8 at 360 pounds, is nothing short of absolutely amazing. Jordan Davis made my jaw drop. Then this year you had Kelly Ringo, the 260, I think he is, and he ran like a 4.48 or something ridiculous. At his size, it makes no sense. Makes no sense. Even Anthony Richardson at 244 running a 4.4, that's ridiculous. He is bigger than Cam Newton was, and he is faster than Cam Newton was. He's fast. He is as fast as like somebody like Bijan Robinson or one of these receivers at 240 pounds. It's crazy. The only person I'm trying to think, like, who back in the day, Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson was like 230 and ran like a low 4.3. Bo Jackson was that fast. It's a shame, like, his career got cut short. Bo Jackson was a freak of nature. Bo Jackson did what Herschel Walker did, but better. Herschel Walker was another freak. Herschel Walker was about 6'2.5", almost 6'3", built. Just like Herschel was Herschel was ridiculous. Every rumor you ever heard about Herschel was true, except he did do a lot of the push-ups and sit-ups, and they say he didn't lift weights. That was false. He did lift weights. However, Herschel was not, loading up the bar with 325 and repping out 4 sets of 12 or nothing like that. Herschel would put like minimal weight on, do some warm-up stuff, and then go back to his push-ups and sit-ups. He was crazy flexible. He was just a freak of nature and was fast as all get out. But Herschel didn't have any moves. Herschel couldn't fake you out. He could just run around you and run past you. But I wish people could really understand and appreciate how much of an athlete Bo Jackson was. Bo Jackson was incredible at his size. Bo Jackson was 230, 235, but had Dion type speed. That's how good Bo Jackson was. And if he hadn't have popped his hip, he'd have been guaranteed Hall of Famer. Guaranteed. No question. No question in my mind. So, who is they? Public Enemy. Who's they, PE? They missed out on McCarthy. Think they're going for Robinson. You talking about the Eagles? I don't think they're not getting it. Let me say it like this. If we ended up with Bijan Robinson, that would be the biggest surprise of the draft, in my opinion. Philly would go nuts. They would blow the roof off of Philly. So, why is everybody on my boy Mike, man? Listen, Mike is a friend of mine, man. And here's the thing with Mike. Mike was not a bust, bro. Go look at his stats. Mike may not have had the stats of a first-round pick. That's the problem. But Mike was not a bust. Far from it. You look at somebody like Jalen Reagor, you can say Jalen Reagor was a bust so far. But Mike was not a bust. Mike had a decent career. So I will defend my boy Mike. He just didn't live up to everybody else's expectation. Mike did what he was supposed to do. Frank, what's going on, bro? Mike did what he was supposed to do. Mike was one of the first ones that started training for the combine. Mike figured out the assignment. Mike changed the game. That's how you got to look at it. Mike changed the game. Because after Mike Mamula did what he did at the combine, everybody else was doing what Mike was doing. Make no mistake, Mike changed the game. Then everybody had track coaches and everybody was training for the shuttle runs and everybody. Mike changed how everybody prepares for the combine. And that's why people do what they do. That's why you got all these facilities. That's why you got all of these places you can go that'll train you specifically for that, because that's the show. And Mike showed y'all the formula. Everybody that has some crazy work out of the combine, they need to give Mike Mamula 3%. Because if it wasn't for him, would nobody else be doing it? Mike was good at BC. And that's what I'm saying. Look, listen, everybody want to jump on that because the Philadelphia media portrays Mike as a bust, but Mike wasn't a bust. Look at his stats. Look at his stats. So, a lot of stuff going on, man. We got, who else we got? I still think we're going to do one more time on this mock draft before we get up out of here. I think C.J. Stroud is going to be the first quarterback pick. Bryce Young is going to be the second, and then it'll go to either – it's a toss-up between Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. Wherever Anthony Richardson goes, they got to have a good quarterbacks coach. They got to – like, look at this, man. 4.43 at 44 pounds? Come on, son. That's ridiculous. That's not even fair. Will Levis, he jumped up out of nowhere because if you watch his tape and Anthony Richardson tape, I heard Vegas wants that too, Anthony. But Richardson and Levis, they didn't have really good years. They had good years, but they had a couple duds in there. You can go watch the tape and make the judgment for yourself. So they had a couple games where it was like, yeah, you struggled on this one. the defense had your number. But if you look at CJ Stroud, you look at Bryce Young every week. If they lost the game, it was probably an overtime game, and defense couldn't stop nobody. Bryce Young, you can say what you want to say about Bryce Young and his size and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, if that's true of Bryce Young, quarterbacks get hit less than anybody on the field. So why do you think, because he's a small quarterback, he ain't going to be able to hold his own? When you can send somebody that's the same size across the middle, he'll get wiped up by a safety, and he'll pop up and continue and, be a Pro Bowler at the end of the year. Don't tell me Bryce Young can't play. You know he can play. So, yeah, don't give me that crap about his size. He knew he was that size when he went to Alabama. The coaches knew he was that size when he was at Alabama. Everybody he played against in the SEC knew he was that size when he was at Alabama, but could nobody stop him. And I'll say this again, for you to think that that's going to be a problem when he gets to the league, his linemen at Alabama, 6'6", 6'6", 6'5", 6'5", 6'4", and 6'5". So he's used to standing behind a giant offensive line. Now, I don't know what he's going to do different than somebody like Kyler Murray that's in the same boat, because they basically the same height. But where Kyler Murray is super quick and can run out of those situations, watch the tape. Bryce Young is a drop back quarterback. He is not somebody that's trying to run all the time. He is a drop back quarterback and was beating folks with his arm. 300 yards, 380, 385, 416. He was throwing the peel around. So Bryce Young is that dude. Yeah. He transferred to Kentucky. And it's funny, I got another guy from one of the kids I coached, Devin Leary. He was at North Carolina State. He broke Phillip Rivers records at North Carolina State. Got hurt his last year, had one more year of eligibility, hopped in the portal. Now he's at Kentucky. So at least he's got some eyes on him, because now everybody's like, well, who's going to pick up for Will Levis? Watch Devin Leary at Kentucky. He going to do some things. So we got some irons in the pot, man. Got some irons in the fire. So let's take a look at this draft. We're going to do a couple more drafts, and I'm going to get out of here because the drafts is fun. So we on the clock again, and let's see what we got. And let's see, big bucks, no whammies. All right, we got, let's see, Bryce Young goes to, this is our third mock. Bryce Young, Carolina. The Texans get Will Levis. Cardinals get Will Anderson Jr. Colts pick up C.J. Stroud. If C.J. Stroud goes to the Colts, that's a good get. Jalen Carter to Seattle. Quentin Johnson to Detroit. Anthony Richardson to Vegas. This is the same one we saw again. So it just respawned the same one. Devin Witherspoon to the Falcons. Chris Gonzalez to Oregon. And the Eagles are on the clock. So Tyree Wilson, Jackson Smith, Najigba, Peter Skoronski. Let's see, Kalijah Kancey. Is that somebody you can just wow. If he fell to us, what do you do? I'm gonna go back here to my man from Texas Tech. I'm gonna do it again. On the clock, tight end, Josh Downs, DeWanda Jones, tackle, Tanner McGree, and okay, Uzoma. Another edge rusher, Ujulari. We got a good. We're in some good spots, man. We're in some good spots. I think they'll go kick the kid from O State, get a good tackle in there. Because that's another thing we got to think of. We got to start figuring out now that Lane Johnson's got that deal, who's going to be his backup. Got to get somebody to back him up. But that was fun. Check out the PFF mock draft, if you will, and give it a shot. Some fun stuff. So, but I'm gonna get up out of here, man. I'm done playing with mock drafts. So we'll see what happens. Philly's lost. It is what it is. I didn't even get into basketball yet. I watched half of the game against Dallas, and Sixers win. Looked a little sloppy in the second half, but they got to tighten it up for the playoffs. And I'm glad that JoJo set out for that game, and he gets healthy so we can be 100% going to the playoffs. And let's just keep watching to see what Eagles news comes up next. Again, if you haven't, check me out on my YouTube channel. Please do. I need the subs. Please subscribe so I can continue to grow and we can keep doing this thing. And I will be here next Thursday on A2D Radio. Stay tuned about, I think, 9:30, around 9:30-ish. My boy Chucks and the boys at Birds of a Feather will be getting it done. So check them out if you can. And I will see you all next week. Have a good weekend. Be safe. Peace.